how this one is that. But guess, yet, yeah, they are those who are living through the danger that doesn't even give them any special sort of a preference. Some of you say, Mayegun, let me tell you something. If you don't know something, you need to learn. People, they tell me, Nigerian, in get or he was angry with me, okay? Because I said Hamas, no be Palestine. Hamas, no be this, come hear story. Some of them are ready to teach me the history of Israel. They are ready to teach me the history of Palestine, the killings there. And now when it started, some even went on to go and write their PhD on how Palestine was cheated, how Israel was cheated, how this one was that. But none of them is interested in the tribal and ethnic and religious Olympics. In fact, the enmity that exists in Nigeria today, religious-wise, is because of the loyalty of Nigerians to Israeli at Palestine. But when it comes to Katsina, when it comes to Angonoma, they call all this Adugbos. When it comes to Shibok, Dapchi, Jangebe, Yahuri, Kankara, Kagara, Sangaya, Yunidusema, Guso, which one is that? Kaduna. Those who are the same thing, Kaduna, Gidanwaya, those who are, all these people, including those who are in Kuriga. When I talk about these places, they are not interested. They are not genuinely interested. They are only interested in the histories that told them that they are superior. You are not superior. You always think that you are born to rule. Look at an average northerner, for example, where those who have ruined Nigeria in the last 63 years, 47 years of that 63 years was done by the criminals, dead and alive, from northern Nigeria. Northern Nigeria is the region that puts Nigeria on the map as the poverty capital of the world. Poverty, only naked poverty. You go see I'm like naked fire. Are you with me? And when I say poverty, I'm talking about human capital development, where people, you know what I mean? And all of these things about when they talk about child mother mortality rates, women who are pregnant, some of them who will die while giving birth, right? Children that will die before they celebrate their 5th year. All of these are from northern Nigeria. Malnutrition, kwashiorkor, and different diseases, communicable diseases, they call them. All of these are still existing in northern Nigeria, putting Nigeria on the map. They are spread, I'm not saying they don't exist elsewhere. They exist everywhere in Nigeria. But where you have 80% of this is from northern Nigeria, even though the rest of you are catching up now. Abi? You're catching up. Because we now have some of those who are like the voluntary or voluntary slaves, Oshogbo Alimajiris. But yet, the power didn't serve them. That's the point I am trying to make. The power never served the North or anybody from there who is not part of their elites. But you will see a northerner. They've told him, you are born to rule. We are born to rule. That northerner that is selling groundnut, he can become governor tomorrow. They continue to say that to themselves. And that northerner that is an Almajirio is believing that too. Yes. There are those who are Almajiri too. They are leaders today. I'm waiting for the day of my own turn. But because I am born to rule, he's not looking at the millions that are dying before they can even attempt to be councillor in any part of northern Nigeria. They are not looking at that because they have been made to believe. And the rest are believing that, you think you are born to rule. Do you think you are better than me? Do you think you are better? You this kiniko. Now, while you are busy with that, instead of educating yourselves, a lot of you are also busy with learning, histories of all those places that do not make you really smart. Do you understand that now? Because smart people are those who can sense and see the danger they are in. and they thrive. They do everything to change it. You change your own destiny, you change the destiny of others too. Over 800 people are currently in captivity. No idea. Okay. But partly, here is part of what is trending out there, where one of the elite in Nigeria, Herbert Wigwe, I spoke about him earlier today, the Access Bank guy who died in a plane crash in America. Okay. His friends, mostly politicians, they are all business, they are all partners. When politicians, when they loot your money, the bankers help them to clean the money and they collect their share. For example, now, what's that guy's name again? Tony Elumelu, the owner of is he the owner? The owner of UBA is the guy who brokered the deal between Tifnumbu's government and the Afrexim Bank. The Afrexim Bank was to provide $3.3 billion liquid cash to Tifnumbu so that he can use it to defend the Naira. Naira, imagine somebody getting 3 billion to defend you so that you can be strong. So it was this Tony Elumelu who brokered the deal, and he collected his 5% of the entire money. That's the first part. He's also going to get about 15, his own, what do you call it? His own bank. They are going to get like about 15% of what is still to come. And what is that? Tony Elumelu is supposed to be a Nigerian. He's a businessman. He's making his money, you will say, Abi, but he's not making any clean money. He's making money from a rotten system that easily just, it's pretty much like, come and take it. Just take. It's there. Just take. If I'm not taking it, another person will take it. So what do you want me to do? So he went on to make a deal with the Afrexim Bank, where Nigeria will use $12 billion worth of crude oil as a collateral to collect $3.3 billion liquid cash. Now they have given them $2 billion of that money. Think of what the 5% of the entire thing is for Elumelu's bank. It will run into millions of dollars. So at the end of the day, even the one that they are telling you that they pay them and they are using it to defend the Naira, there's some amount of that they will actually tell him, your bank can also have access to it too. You are a friend of the, you are a true Nigerian. You are a Nigerian that is working to make sure that Nigeria is a great country. Elumelu will walk about and they will tell you, oh, Elumelu, you know how many people Elumelu employed? They employed them as bankers not to make any of your country better. They are those behind all the money laundering, all of this forex, round tripping and the rest of that. The collapse of Nigeria economy. Those are the friends. Those are the friends of the politicians. Do you understand that? So Elumelu will now make, God knows, maybe 15% from the $12 billion crude oil. If Nigeria doesn't pay back the $3.3 billion by 2029, no, 2028, 5 years, Tifnubu must pay back 3.3 billion plus interest. If he can't pay it back, the collateral means Afrexim Bank can bring somebody or bring people to begin to extract 167 million barrels of crude oil. That's the amount of worth of collateral. That's what Tifnubu gave them. 167 million barrels of crude oil to collect 3.3 billion. For today's price, that is going to be $12 billion. But in 5 years' time, that could be $30 billion worth. And there is no chance for anybody to say, oh, you are going to be there when they start drilling it. And then somebody will tell them once they take the 167 million barrels. Now, if I ask you, what do you think the $2 billion they collected already? Where do you think they have spent that? And where have you seen that in your economy? Has your Naira gone back to 700 Naira now? Binance is gone. Abi? So has that reduced your Naira? Has the $2 billion reduced your Naira? Are you even aware of the $2 billion? Are you? Now they are waiting for 1.3 billion extra. in 5 years' time, if they don't pay them back, they will come and take those oil. And they could sell that for more than 30 billion. And Nigeria will have to look away. That is $30 billion plus the $3 billion that these guys collected, and they did not use it in your country at all. That will make it $33 billion or more. That will just go straight into private pockets and all of them. And it is business. This is the type of deal. And that's why Tifnubu went to Qatar, telling them that they can come and take all your natural resources, whatever they want. They are welcome. Okay? As long as they will give them money. So that those of you who are tomorrow's leaders, you will have nothing, absolute nothing, but indebtedness, poverty, and this stigmatization that we face all over the world. I saw a video of a man who was visiting America. I don't know if you have seen the video. A video of a man who was a Nigerian visiting America just recently. And he was stopped. And they told him, they said, well, there are some countries that we have to be very careful and we have to scrutinize them before they enter this America. Nigeria is one of them. We need to know what is inside of you, because we believe Nigeria is a place where people smuggle drug because they are going through financial family problems. They are looking for a way out, and somebody will offer them to swallow pellets of drugs and bring it to America. You see, these border guards, officers who were interviewing him, they were very nice and kind, but you could see the shame of that stigma of somebody who probably hasn't done anything wrong. At the end of it, right, he was let go, right? And he's just told them, it's like, well, I'm a God-fearing man, blah, 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 blah. But that experience, the trauma, will leave him with PTSD for the rest of his life. And there are many of you like that. Many, many of us who are going to experience that. You get that? So the rogues who are doing this, unrepentant criminals. So they met at one of them's burial, and they were talking about how, how it was so great. It was this, it was that. He supports people. He helped them. La, 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 la. But just because they are somewhere, they could see one of them, an elite who has made so much money and has done so well for himself, then a tragedy struck. Himself, his wife, and his son, they died in a plane crash. Tragedy. But Nigerian politicians, there is no time for sober reflection for them. They do not fear God. They do not fear any religion. They do not have any allegiance to any tribe, ethnic, or what have you. You are the deluded one that think because they come from your tribe or they appear to be practicing the same religion, your faith, definitely they have something in common with you. And therefore you could trust them. They do not. These guys do not fear any death. They do see themselves, many of them who are suffering through different health problems. And they know, they are aware of that. Sometimes they do see the end of those before them, how they ended. That does not make them feel like anything is anything. So those of you who are thinking that maybe these same guys should fear God enough that if they die, where they will end, they do not give a damn. I actually want to listen to this man's message, talking about an entity, a country overtaken by criminals, and they are now entrenching criminality left, right, and center. I want you to listen to this first, and I will take you to Wigwe's burial, where Akpabiole and then the Fubara guy had a bit of a show off. Yeah, if you don't mind.
Of leadership integrity in nation building and national stability and prosperity. For I have become more convinced today than ever before that leadership debauchery and elite idiocy will ruin any nation, no matter how perfect the political structure and governance blueprints that they adopt. Leadership debauchery and elite idiocy will ruin any nation, no matter how perfect the political or structural blueprint that they adopt. And it has been well established by social scientists that the collapse of powerful civilizations is hardly ever precipitated by external attack, but instead by internal decay, or what the ancient mystics call due to the want of order in the soul. The want of order in the soul. Let me use passages of the Judeo-Christian scriptures to illustrate the point. We read in Proverbs 14:34 that righteousness exalts a nation, but that sin is a reproach to any people. Proverbs 29:2, we read that when the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice, but when the wicked rule, the people groan. Proverbs 29:4 says, it is by justice that a king gives stability to a land. And Proverbs 29:18 says, where there is no vision, the people perish. Some translations render this verse, Proverbs 29:18, as, quote, where there is no leadership integrity, the people do perish. What this means is that leadership integrity is fundamental and critical to national development, national unity, and national peace and prosperity. Or that the socio-economic and political fortunes of a people are tied up to the integrity or lack thereof of its leaders. This idea is very well illustrated in the history of Israel. When they had good leaders, like Joshua and David and Hezekiah and Nehemiah and Ezra, they conquered their enemies. They experienced restoration and they enjoyed peace and prosperity. But when they had leaders who lacked integrity and the fear of God, like Saul and Jeroboam and Rehoboam and Ahab, etc., they were easily defeated by the enemies who went ahead to loot and pillage their resources. In one case, Israel was not only conquered by their adversaries, they were expelled from their land and deported to Babylon for 70 years. Now, to illustrate the point further, there is this report in the book of Sirach or Ecclesiasticus, chapter 47, verse 23 to 25, that, I quote, Solomon rested with his ancestors, leaving one of his stock as his successor, the stupidest member of the nation, brainless Rehoboam, whose policy drove the nation to rebel. Next, Jeroboam, son of Nebat, who made Israel to sin and set Ephraim on the way of evil. From then on, their sins multiplied so excessively as to drive them out of their country, for they tried every kind of wickedness until vengeance overtook them. Recall that, as is recorded in the 12th chapter of the first book of Kings, it was Rehoboam who succeeded his father Solomon as king of Israel and Judah. When he ascended the throne, the elder of Israel went to him and complained about how hard life had been under his father, King Solomon, saying, your father made our yoke heavy. Now, therefore, we beg you, please lighten the hard service of your father and his heavy yoke that he placed on us, and we will serve you. Rehoboam's counselors advised him on how to respond to the elders with compassion, but he disregarded the advice of his counselor, and instead he told the elders, let me quote, my father beat you with whips, but I will beat you bloody with chains. When the elders of Israel heard the response of King Rehoboam, they resolved to separate themselves from the kingdom of David. So they shouted, to your tents, O Israel. Now look to your tents, O David. This was the beginning of the disintegration of the kingdom that was united under David and Solomon. Now, brothers and sisters, friends, what the above scriptures tell us, and what has been sufficiently demonstrated in human history and in our own recent national trajectory, is that the socio-economic and political fortunes of a people often hang peremptorily on the integrity or lack of integrity of its leaders. Where there is moral integrity among the ruling class, the people make economic progress and experience stability and peace. But where the leaders are illegitimate, corrupt, unjust, immoral, lacking in credibility, the people suffer economic stagnation, social discourse, and eventual collapse. As we gather here today for one more brainstorming session on the imperative of evolving new governance structures for Nigeria, I wish to remind the respected patriots, elder statesmen and women, legislators, political scientists, governance experts, as well as civil society activists here present, that though we all seem to agree that the prevailing political structures in our nation are not working for the people, though we all seem to agree that there is an urgent need for revisioning, for reconfiguring, and for restructuring of the Nigerian nation, nations, however, are built primarily and fundamentally on values, and not on the quality of political or structural blueprints they embrace, nor on the abundance of material resources, as indeed the post-independence Nigeria experiment has demonstrated. Nation building.
I know you all have a lot to say. Indeed, if you listen there, or if you comprehend that very well, right? What he started with, okay, is to use the Bible historical illustrations, then to bring that into the Nigeria reality of today. The progress, success of any country or any nation depends on the quality of their leaders. The economic stagnation that Nigeria has been experiencing in the last 8 years is due to the is due to the quality of your leaders. You need to own it. So it's not about Israel. It's not about, you need to look beyond that now, please. Okay? Well, here is an example. In a church in River State where Wigwe was being, what do you call that thing, for his wake keep. And the Nigerian useless politicians, especially Akpabiole, decided to dance naked in public. Not because it's for anybody's benefit or anybody's benefit other than just to your own entertainment and maybe shock. It was, according to them, it was Fubara who first fired the first shot. I want to quickly put this up, okay? So that we can go to the next one before the last one, all right? Here was the beginning of that chat that has been making rounds on the social media, by the way.
Life all about. Yesterday night, we sang a hymn, say fading away like a star in the morning. And I come to a conclusion that life is not the 1 million years that we live. But even if we spend an hour, let the hour be impactful. Here lies our brother, his wife, and the son. Everyone has come to celebrate them. It means even the short period that he lived an impactful life. He has made a great contribution to humanity. And that takes me to the next question. And this one has to do with our political class. What is all this struggle all about? You want to kill, you want to bury. What is it all about? This is a man. He's not a politician. He made his money through us, our investment. He has the world in his palm, financially. He controls even the political classes. But today, with all the power financially, couldn't control life. Is it not enough for us to ask ourselves, why are we struggling? Why are we not making impact in the life of our people? Please, political classes, let's go home with that question and be answering it in our minds and reflecting it in what we do. Let me especially thank my brother, the governor of Lagos State. I feel a bit unhappy because he took over the shine. He's been very supportive to this program, right from the first day. Throughout the program in Lagos, it's not just he attends, he will be there from the beginning to the end of it. And it's not even a Rivers man. So I want to say thank you for your support to my brother. It will be complete if I don't mention Alhaji Aliko Dangote. I also notice he's always there for the support. For we as a state, that by the special grace of God that I represent, I am the chief host. Nobody can take that one away from me now.
So he's the chief host. Akpabiole is the chief organizer. And he said he has the answer for Fubara. Mo, listen.
I wasn't a presidential candidate. The ovation that the Redeemed Church will give to me will not be as much as my brother who was a... But let me thank you for giving me the opportunity to lend the voice of the federal government of Nigeria to the bereaved family, to Rivers State, to the business community, to the global community, and to all Nigerians. It is not a normal occasion. This is a very abnormal occasion. We will continue to grieve after this. So I won't go into much details. I won't even go into protocols. I just want to extend the condolences of Mr. President, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, his government, the National Assembly that I'm privileged to be chairman, and all members of the legislature in Nigeria, to the bereaved family, to Access Bank, particularly my brother, Ike Imokwede, the co-founder, and then the widow. Unfortunately, the widow is with us here now. The remaining members of the family. That's why I say it's not the normal occasion. Normally, the wife would have been here. If the wife was not here, the first son would have been here. But as God pleases, none of them is here. They are all here in front of us. May their souls rest in perfect peace. It's been almost a month of mourning. There's nothing that we can do than to continue to express our heartfelt condolences, our sadness over the demise of this family. Herbert was an iconic figure. He was a people's person. I believe he was a friend and a brother to all that came across him. Together with his brother, they raised Access Bank to a level of among the first 5 top banks in Nigeria, considering their ages. So number one, considering their ages, you can see that their hard work paid off. So let me also extend the condolences of the federal government to the father and the mother of the late Herbert Miwe, that just like the governor of Rivers has said, may Almighty God find the man and walked away. If anybody says death is good, sweet, those who die in the Lord, it is in order to fulfill the Bible. But for those of us who are mortal, this death is very painful, and very painful indeed. We are not going to cry in one day alone. We'll cry in so many days. When you look at the university, you will cry. When you pass through his personal house and edifice, you will cry. When you pass through any of the Access Bank branches worldwide, whether the one in Dubai or whether the one in Kenya or anywhere, you will cry. When you come across children that he touched, those that he sent to school, and the lives he touched, when they are talking about it and they mention his name, you will cry. When you even remember the father, his hair, Chisi, was already an iconic figure, a talented young man, highly educated, the best universities, prepared to take over the empire from the father, and yet he's no more, you will cry. When you think of the father, the wife could have been here to also mourn with us, but she joined him, then you will cry. Then you ask yourself, just like Governor Fubara said, what is the struggle all about? I will answer you. The struggle, we are not talking politics. In 2006, I wanted to be a deputy governor. So the then deputy governor invited me and told me that this office has no money. There is nothing in it. I don't know why you still insist on moving me from here and taking over. So a woman who went with me said, Your Excellency, then don't wait for impeachment. Just resign since there is nothing in it. And he stood up and he started punching the woman. And I told him, Your Excellency, don't punch her. She's telling the truth. There is nothing in the office. That's why I want it. Because you are too big for it. So, Your Excellency, Governor Fubara, if there is nothing in the struggle, don't struggle. But the soul of our icon, a South-South mentor, a man of excellence with his family.
You were there.
I was not there. Check the record. Wait now. You. I was not there. I was not there. Check the record. I was not there, but you were there. But I was not there. I was not there.
You were there.
I was not there. Check the record. Wait now. You. I was not there. I was not there. Check the record. I was not there, but you were there. But I was not there. I was not there.
You were there.
I was not there. Check the.
You were there. So did you hear that? So that was them like doing their own the normal theatrical show off. But I want to just kind of pick one or two things again before we move on. Fubara described the late Wigwe as a very financially powerful man that he controls the politicians. Does that give you the answer you probably want to know? That they are not there to mourn him dead. Most of them are there to confirm if he's truly dead. And they want to know what's going to happen to some of their monies that they have helped them put away. And that is why they are not there to mourn. They are not there to share, you get. And I promise you, the family possibly know this too. Some of them are there to make sure that it is true. Everything they have been hearing. They are $2 million. They are $100 million. They are this £100 million. All of this that they are put everywhere. Done through banks in Nigeria. You can't just die like that. I hope everything is, you know what I mean? And when he said, when you pass his house, you will cry. When you pass his office, you will cry. No, we won't cry. But for those who have really benefited from him and all that stuff and all that, right? Maybe they will cry. But coming from the mouth of Akpabioli, and all of us knowing all of your criminal elites are milking you, destroying the Nigeria economy, but yet they are the ones who will tell you they are trying to figure it out. They are the ones who are looting you, helping the looters to launder the money. So when politicians cry at the funeral of a banker, I promise you, it is not out of love. I promise you. It'd be like a drug dealer where they cry at the funeral of an accountant. Yet you think it's because of love. It's because, Baba, this guy go just die. Die. If you just die like that, too. That's exactly what most of these politicians are. It's all for selfish, personal stuff. And the quality of your leaders will determine the quality of life you are going to live. If your public servants are richer than the states, richer than the country, they depleted the country to the point that the country is living on a borrowed time, borrowed money, about to explode. Of course, check the quality of your leaders. And I will continue with this further.
Internal, organic, and dynamic process by which a society identifies, discusses, contests, and reaches consensus on shared values, principles, and norms. It refers to the process by which a society galvanizes a sense of national cohesion, consolidates a national identity, and forges a sense of common purpose or set of common goals to which the society is oriented. In other words, nation building is the process of molding diverse groups into a unified, cohesive, harmonious, and stable national entity with shared vision and collective mission. Now, essential and of critical importance in the process of nation building is a transparently honest, visionary, self-sacrificing, and therefore legitimate and credible leadership. Such leadership assumes the role of architects, engineers, and project managers of the emerging nation. Thus, strong, stable, unified, and prosperous nations are built, I say, fundamentally on values. And experience has shown that such values are anchored on and sustained by leaders of transparent integrity and credibility, whose very lives encapsulate and personify the values that they seek to propagate in the polity. Otherwise, such values will hardly take root in the society. When, however, such critical values for nation buildings as leadership integrity, justice and fairness, as well as high degree of patriotism and sacrifice for the common good, when such values are missing, what we often have is a free-for-all. Intractable conflicts from Meduguri to Yanegua and from Ondo to Benue. Monumental corruption, political tension, social discord, the preponderance of violent crimes, widespread impunity, including executive impunity, etc. Indeed, 4th century philosopher St. Augustine of Hippo declared that kingdoms or societies devoid of justice are nothing but a bunch of bandits and a gang of robbers. Kingdoms devoid of justice are nothing but a bunch of bandits or a gang of robbers. It is justice that builds kingdoms. Where there is no justice, what you have is a gang of bandits or a bunch of robbers. What the foregoing implies is that as we engage in multiple dialogue events and public debates on the reconfiguration or restructuring of the Nigerian nation and what governance structures best suit our context of ethno-religious and cultural diversity, we must pay close attention to the reality of widespread moral vacuity among the political, economic, religious, and socio-cultural elite of our nation. As we engage in one more brainstorming session on the future of the Nigerian nation, I ask that we pay attention, urgent attention to, and address very critically the embarrassment of what has been called a naked public square. Naked public square, whereby criminally minded characters and alleged gangsters in our midst are more easily finding their way to all levels of political office than men and women of honor, integrity, discipline, modesty, patriotism, and sacrifice. Yes, as we engage in one more political dialogue session, I ask that we seriously interrogate the situation whereby our nation more easily throws off for political office crooked and devious characters, including ethnic bigots, religious extremists, those who regularly manipulate the religious sentiments of the people, those who recklessly exploit the age-old ethnic acrimonies and antipathies in the land for selfish gain, and those thoughtless others who habitually loot the local government, state government, or national treasury for themselves and their families and render the population destitute. Until we address this anomaly, this fundamental error in our concept of political leadership and the leadership recruitment process, I do not believe that any measure of tinkering with our political structures alone will transform our fortunes.
You were there. I was not there. Check the record. You were there. I was not there. Check the record. You were there. I was not there. Check the record.
You need to hear. I have told you that sometimes some people feel like it is just pure verbiage. It's just, what's it called that one again? Grammatical diarrhea, something, whatever. See, let me tell you. When people have a chance, all right, to actually say it their way, say things their way in their words, right? Directly out there. It is mostly not about the messenger. It is the message. And you could tell, even if it is just all talks. However, nobody is living in denial of anything anymore. And what we have to kind of maintain is to ensure that the people who usually were somehow quiet when a lot of us were asking the APC to at least fulfill one significant part of all the lies or promises they made you, restructuring Nigeria. They watched this elite. Of course, they watched Bokwari divided Nigeria along ethnic lines, successfully profiled the Igbos for 8 years. The remnants of the massacring that was going on secretly before, they are still going on now. It's the same trajectory. Of course, they kept quiet. But now, if the same people who kept quiet during those periods, who called us troublemakers, are today telling themselves there's something else to be done, they can put together all all sort of conjectures, right? Renegotiation, restructuring, and all of that stuff. Indeed, we know Nigeria has passed that stage. That's the stage they are just arriving at. All right? The same them, they will finally come around and say, you know what? Restructuring or those things cannot work anymore. A lot of them who were talking about restructuring years ago, They no longer say that anymore. They are asking for the total breakup of Nigeria. It's just that the number is not numbering yet. So that is why messages like this and messengers like this, they are needed, because their messages are needed. If you can discard the messengers and their own ambition inside the contraption and whatever ambitions they have, I'm not asking you to listen to them as religious people. Don't. I just want you to listen to the messages they are passing to themselves, the content of it, where most of them are no longer hiding, or what should I put it as? Like they are no longer acting their political correctness anymore. The word usage there. For the record, I want to hear the remainder of that, what that father had to say. And I beg you to please listen to. Here.
It does stop the 1963 Constitution and amend it for our present day circumstances. Part of the implications of this, as
to this, there are some historical references he's making to back up what he is saying, right? And for the record, let it be part of this. Listen.
It does stop the 1963 Constitution and amend it for our present day circumstances. Part of the implications of this, as Sam has said, may be that we go back to embrace the parliamentary system, that we adopt no more than 6 or 7 viable regions or states. Most of the money we generate in this country is used to service the bureaucracy. It is not sustainable. When I was a young boy, we had one place called Ebira Division. Now you have 5 local governments with 5 chief executives that need to be serviced. And they don't generate anything. So whatever they receive from Abuja is used to just service the chief executives. It's a useless system. We need to throw it away. Yeah. So we need to have local administrative structure.